Hello students, good morning. Welcome back to 7th standard science class. I am your teacher Swetha Malgond. Today we are going to discuss about the topic 1, that is nutrition in plants, part 1. Let us read the objectives. Objectives of the topic are: to know the meaning of nutrients and nutrition, definitions of autotrophs and heterotrophs with examples, to understand the structure of cell and its parts, to know the photosynthesis process, the role of different parts of the plant, and the byproduct of photosynthesis. These are all things we are going to understand in this topic. Hope all of you are ready for the class. Let's begin. Nutrition in plants. Food is the most important and basic thing for life. Carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals are the components of food. These components are necessary for all living beings. All the plants and animals require food for their growth and getting energy. They need food for the growth and to get an energy. The process of utilization of food by an animal to obtain energy for growth and development is known as nutrition. Plants make their food themselves, but animals cannot. Hence, animals depend directly or indirectly on plants. Plants prepare their own food, whereas animals depend on plants directly and indirectly on the plants. In this topic, we are going to understand how plants prepare their own food, how do they get carbohydrate, water, then vitamins and minerals for their development. Then nutrition, the mode of taking food by an organism and its utilization in the body is called as nutrition. Plants get nutrition by preparing the food themselves, whereas animals get nutrition by eating the food which is the source from the plant or animal. Mode of nutrition in plant. Mode of nutrition means the way plants take their nutrition. Plants are the only organism that can prepare food for themselves by using water, carbon dioxide and minerals. The raw materials are present in their surroundings. Plants are the only living organism which can prepare the food by using raw materials. Then the raw materials are sunlight, water, carbon dioxide and minerals which are obtained in the environment. They use all these things and prepare their own food. The nutrients enable living organisms to build their bodies, to grow, to repair damaged parts of their bodies and provide the energy to carry out life processes. You may have question, why should we eat variety of healthy food? Then what is the function of nutrients? Nutrients ತಿನ್ನೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? We have to eat the nutritious food because they help us to build our body, to grow, to repair the damaged parts. Then they also provide energy to carry out life processes. Nutrition is the mode of taking food by an organism and its utilization. There are different ways to take the nutrients from the organisms. See, some organisms prepare their own food by using the raw materials which are present around them. The mode of nutrition in which organisms make food themselves from simple substances is called autotrophic. Auto means self Tropes means nourishment. That type of nourishment is called as autotrophic nutrition. Therefore, plants are called autotrophs. You can see plants take carbon dioxide, sunlight, water, and they prepare the food themselves by the process of photosynthesis. Only green plants can prepare the food. The plants which have chlorophyll in them can prepare the food for themselves. Such plants are called as autotrophic plants, or they are called as autotrophs. Let's see the second mode of nourishment. Animals and most other organisms take in food prepared by plants. They are called as heterotrophs. Heteros means others. Animals and reptiles, insects, birds, these all are depend on the plant or plant products for their food. Such type of animals are called as heterotrophs. Heteros means others. They get nourishment from other organism. Here other is nothing but autotrophs. There are only two mode of nutrition. First one is autotrophic mode of nutrition. Second one is heterotrophic mode of nutrition. And the example of heterotrophs are human beings, ruminants like cow, sheep, then carnivorous, bacteria, aquatic animals, then saprotrophic, that is mushroom, insectivorous plant, phytoplant. All these are the heterotrophic organisms. Now let us see the differences between autotrophs and heterotrophs. Autotrophs, these are plants that make their own food by using raw materials, whereas heterotrophs, these depend on food made by plants. Autotrophs contain green pigment called chlorophyll, whereas heterotrophs do not have any green pigment in them. Example for autotrophs are all green plants and alga, whereas the example of heterotrophs are deer, camel, etc. These are the differences between autotrophs and heterotrophs. Then, now we are going to discuss about the smallest structural unit of our body. The body of living organisms are made of tiny unit called cells. Cells can be seen only under the microscope because it is very small. Some organisms are made up of only one cell. They are called as unicellular organisms. The cell is enclosed by a thin outer boundary called as cell membrane. Thin outer boundary. Can you see the boundary of each cell wall? There is a second layer. That thin outer layer is called as cell membrane. Most cells have a distinct centrally located spherical structure called nucleus. Each cell has one centrally located structure, that is nothing but a nucleus. Okay, the nucleus is surrounded by a jelly-like substance called cytoplasm. It is surrounded by a jelly-like substance which act as a digestive juice. They help to transfer the nutrients. So, this is the cytoplasm. These are the parts of a cell. Our body is made up of millions of cells, so we are called as multicellular organisms. Let us discuss about the photosynthesis, which is nothing but food making process in plants. Leaves are the food factories of plants. Therefore, all the raw materials must reach the leaf. Water and minerals present in the soil are absorbed by the roots and transported to the leaves. Carbon dioxide from the air is taken in through a tiny pores present on the surface of leaves. You can see here carbon dioxide is taken by the leaves. Water and minerals which are present in the soil is absorbed by the root and it is transferred to the leaves. Then solar energy is also trapped by the chlorophyll and convert it into a chemical energy. So the raw materials like carbon dioxide, water and minerals are absorbed by the roots and the tiny pores which are present on the surface of leaves. They are called as stomata. Then as a result we get glucose and oxygen as a byproduct. This is the photosynthesis process. These pores are surrounded by guard cells. Such pores are called as stomata. You can see this is the structure of stomata. Stomata will open and close. They work continuously and they get carbon dioxide inside from the atmosphere and sends out oxygen and water from the leaf. See, CO2 is going inside and O2, H2O is coming out of the stomata. Okay, these are the small holes which are present on the surface of the leaves. They open and close continuously. As we breathe, in the same way they also intake and give out gases. While preparing photosynthesis, they take in carbon dioxide and gives out water and oxygen. While respiration, they take in oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide. Now let us see how plants get water and minerals. Water and minerals are transported to the leaves by the vessels, which run like pipes throughout the root, the stem, the branches and the leaves. They form a continuous path or passage for the nutrients to reach the leaf. They are called vessels. You can see here the water and minerals are absorbed by the roots from the soil and it is sent to the different parts of the plant like stem, leaves, branches, flowers and fruits. Stem has a vessels inside them, whereas it contains two different types of vessels. One is xylem and another one is phloem. Xylem helps to transport the water from the root to the different parts of the plant, whereas phloem helps to get the nutrients or to pass the food from the leaves to the different parts of the plants. The leaves have green pigment which is called as chlorophyll. It helps leaves to capture the energy of the sunlight. This energy is used to synthesize food from carbon dioxide and water. Since the synthesis of food occurs in the presence of sunlight, it is called the photosynthesis. Photosynthesis name is given because this process takes place only during daytime when the sun is present. Photo means light. Here it is the sunlight or solar light, and with the help of that light plants prepare a food, so it is called as photosynthesis. And the leaves have a green pigment which is called as chlorophyll. Chlorophyll can capture the solar energy and convert it into chemical energy, and it takes the help of carbon dioxide and water also to prepare the food. So we find that chlorophyll, sunlight, carbon dioxide and water are necessary to carry out the process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a unique process on the earth. The solar energy is captured by the leaves and stored in the plant in the form of food. Thus, sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. It is the unique process on this earth because only green plants have chlorophyll. They take sunlight, carbon dioxide and water, sunlight, and they add the chlorophyll to that so that chlorophyll can convert solar energy into chemical energy. And carbon dioxide, oxygen and water are the result of the photosynthesis. They are the byproduct of photosynthesis. So, solar energy that we get from the sun. Sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. Do you understand? Sunlight, carbon dioxide, water is taken from the nature and chlorophyll converts this into a chemical energy and the result is carbohydrate, oxygen and water. In the absence of photosynthesis, there would not be any food. Photosynthesis will not take place in the leaves means there won't be any food. The survival of almost all organisms directly or indirectly depends upon the food made by the plants. So, all living organisms directly or indirectly we depend upon the plants for our food. If plants doesn't prepare the food by the process of photosynthesis, we won't get food. Besides that, oxygen, which is essential for the survival of all living organisms, is produced during photosynthesis, right? So, oxygen is also most necessary gas for the survival of living organisms, and for the food we depend upon the plant and plant depend upon the photosynthesis process. So, in the absence of photosynthesis, life would be impossible on the earth. We cannot imagine also the situation even if the photosynthesis will not take place. During photosynthesis, chlorophyll contains cells of leaves. In the presence of sunlight, use carbon dioxide and water to synthesize carbohydrate. The process can be represented in an equation. Carbon dioxide, its symbol is CO2, water H2O. Carbon dioxide is taken from the atmosphere by the stomata. Then water is absorbed by the soil from the roots. Then solar energy in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, it gives food, that is nothing but glucose, and oxygen as a byproduct is released. Oxygen is the life-giving gas. We need oxygen for our respiration. All the living organisms breathe only the gas which is obtained as a byproduct of photosynthesis. We breathe only oxygen even though there is more than 75% of nitrogen in the atmosphere. We breathe oxygen which is obtained by the photosynthesis process, and this is the equation of photosynthesis. 6 carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of water give rise to C6H12O6, which is the molecular formula of glucose, and oxygen O2, 6O2. During the process, oxygen is released. The presence of starch in the leaves indicates the occurrence of photosynthesis. Such starch is also a carbohydrate. Starch is a carbohydrate. So, the presence of starch in the leaf says that the plant contains the food by the process of photosynthesis. Solar energy, water and mineral from the soil is taken, even carbon dioxide is taken out, and the byproduct is oxygen.
The leaves other than green also have chlorophyll.
We may have doubt that only green leaves have chlorophyll, only the photosynthesis takes place in such plants. But some other leaves like maroon color, purple, these leaves also have the photosynthesis process takes place in them. The large amount of red, brown and other pigment mask the green color. This colorful pigment mask the green color, means inside it has a chlorophyll. So photosynthesis takes place in these leaves also. So non-green leaves can also prepare the food for themselves. They are also autotroph. You can often see slimy green patches in ponds or stagnant water bodies. We call it as a patchy, right? These are generally formed by the growth of organisms called algae. They contain chlorophyll, which gives them the green color. Algae can also prepare their own food by photosynthesis. Can you see like this? I hope all of you have seen this one. This is the green plant which can prepare photosynthesis for itself. During rainy season, you can see the walls are completely filled with a green color velvety like powder. Like this is also the growth of alga, which is the smallest plant and has chlorophyll in it. So it can prepare the photosynthesis process. Synthesis of food other than carbohydrates. Plant also need different nutrients like vitamins, minerals and proteins. Here we have just learned that plants synthesize carbohydrates through the process of photosynthesis. After the photosynthesis, plant get only carbohydrate. They need some other nutrients. The carbohydrates are made of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. These are used to synthesize the other components of food such as proteins and fats. By getting the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen from the carbohydrate, plant can synthesize proteins and fats. But proteins are nitrogenous substances which can contain nitrogen. Nitrogen is present in abundance in gaseous form in the air. However, plants cannot absorb nitrogen in this form. So, soil has certain bacteria that convert gaseous nitrogen into a useful form and release it into the soil. These are absorbed by the plants along with the water. See here, after photosynthesis process, plant get only carbon dioxide. With the help of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, they can synthesize some other nutrients also. But to synthesize protein, they need nitrogen. Nitrogen is present abundantly in the nature. More than carbon dioxide, nitrogen is present. But plant cannot use it directly. So, they take a help of bacteria which is called as rhizobium. They convert that gaseous nitrogen into a useful form of nitrogen which is released into the soil. You can see here rhizobium green color bacteria is there, no? They get nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into useful form of nitrogen and release into the soil. Rhizobium bacteria have ability to take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into a soluble form. These bacteria live in the roots of the leguminous plants. They live in the roots of the leguminous plant. They make it, the nitrogen, into useful form. Plants take that nitrogen from the roots and convert it into protein and get nutrients from that. Can you see the root noodles? Here rhizobium bacteria are present. This bacteria converts the atmospheric nitrogen into a soluble form and releases into the soil only. When we add water, root helps to absorb the nitrogen and some other minerals and nutrients, then water from the soil and send it to the different parts of the plant. Also, you might have seen farmers adding fertilizers rich in nitrogen to the soil. These rhizobium bacteria are present in leguminous plant, whereas some other plants also need nitrogen. For that, farmers externally add the nitrogen-rich fertilizers to the soil so that it mixes with the soil and absorbed by the root. In this way, plants fulfill their requirements of nitrogen along with the other constituents. Plants can then synthesize proteins and vitamins. After getting the nitrogen from the soil, plants can later synthesize proteins and vitamins so that they can get all the types of nutrients. Already carbohydrate is obtained by the photosynthesis process. Proteins and vitamins are synthesized once they get the nitrogen from the soil. Summary of the today's class. All organisms need food and utilize it to get energy for growth and maintenance of their body. Green plants synthesize food for themselves by the process of photosynthesis, so they are called as autotrophs. The living organisms which depend on plants for their nourishment are called as heterotrophs, and the examples are herbivorous, carnivorous, human beings. It means omnivorous. Sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. Sunlight, water, minerals and carbon dioxide are the raw materials needed for the photosynthesis process. Carbohydrate and oxygen are the byproduct of the photosynthesis. Soil has certain bacteria that convert nitrogenous product, means the gaseous nitrogen, into a soluble form and release it into the soil. These are absorbed by the plants along with the. This is all we have understood from the topic. Hope you enjoyed the class and understood all the concepts. If you have any doubt, we can discuss this in our next class. Till that, take care. Bye bye. See you soon.